Hello, this is a follow up to yesterday's video where I didn't really do it properly, to be honest. It was kind of something I did on the fly as usual, and afterwards realized that, you know, you may get your system kind of messed up a little bit. If you know what you're doing, you'll be fine, but let me just go through it here. So, what I did was yesterday, go to Project Explorer. So, what I'm going to do is I want to do columns, right? So yesterday what I did was I created, I'm on the laptop right now, so I've switched over. So I used this ADM assembly each ANSI C, which I used for everything previously. Now I've decided I don't want my columns to come on the same sheet, so that would mean I would need a new one because this drawing process will direct me to a landscape sheet until yesterday when I switched that sheet to a vertical sheet, a portrait sheet, so that I can put the columns vertically but have them fit on a page better. So I've discussed this with a couple of people. They kind of like getting the columns that way, so I'm going to try it out and see how the clients like it. So the problem being, if I go to output and drawing processes, you can see that I missed a couple of steps, right? I didn't really, because I do a lot of things like that where I'll just do them and go back and address them later, but it's not really the proper way to show you how to do it. So if I go to this ANSI C, now I've previously come in and tried to record this video 5 minutes ago, but I got a little sidetracked, so I'm going to redo it. So basically what I should have done yesterday was created a new drawing style. So come in here and copy it. ADM assemblies. I'm going to put portrait in here so I can see it. So at the end it's hard to see sometimes. Unless I do ADM portrait, maybe. Alright, so if I do that, portrait always looks wrong in capitals. But anyway, next. Okay. So now I've created a new drawing style here. Just click up here. Make sure this will be active once I close and open Advanced Steel. So let's come back in here. Let's go to properties. The portrait is kind of annoying me in capitals, sorry. Okay, that'll do for now. I can switch it later. So now we need to create a new step here also, right? So if I go back to the C one, right? This was the one I wanted original, or this is the one my original, which is ADM selected assemblies each ANSI C. But now I want to create that for a vertical sheet, right? So I want to come in here, create a new one of these, and do ADM portrait selected assemblies, and assembly selected. That's the category I wanted in, so that's good. Now it has the same one down here, same assembly. So you can see in here per assembly ADM, per single part ADM. So I'm going to create a new one of these, file selector. So ANSI C per assembly ADM portrait. Alright, so the portrait one now is correct, right? Because this portrait is this portrait. But if I go back to the one that's not portrait, so assembly C, assembly ADM, you can see it has portrait, but I don't want that to be portrait because that's going to be for the beams. So I want that to go on the regular sheet. So let's just check that because I didn't do apply. That's okay. Alright, so now to go back and check them, go to the regular one, assemblies each ANSI C, and check to see which one that is on. Portrait selected assemblies each ANSI C, so that is correct, and this one is correct, and go in and check that this one is correct. Now the detailed style map is not going to matter, right? My detailed style map, it's still given the column vertical, not the horizontal drawn, so that's good, and then it's given the beams as regular, so that's good. So the detailed style map is good for both. Now I'm going to go check the other one. Now ADM selected assemblies each ANSI. So these two are flipped around. Sorry, here's the portrait here. So this one is wrong. And then I went in here and this one is wrong, right? So I have these wrong way around. So you want to click on this, make sure you're in it, and then you're going to come in here. ADM assemblies. Select the assemblies, this one. So it's going to be this one. And then I'm going to come in here and you can see that I had this set to portrait. So I want to switch this back. I know it seems confusing, kind of. So ADM is not going to be portrait. Alright, and now go to the other one, and the other one we're going to want to select the portrait, which is at the bottom. Now, I should have named these better so that that one is not at the bottom, and also capitals probably would be better to see it. So it's probably better to put this portrait at the other end. I won't bother changing it right now. So the main step is this, and then this one I would want to be portrait, and then I want to go in and check, and it is on the portrait. See? Now this is the problem I have with these. See the way you just clicked on that, and now that has switched. So let me cancel out of that. Now it's fine, see? So just be careful, you have to keep checking these. So this one, assemblies each ANSI C, that's correct. Portrait. And then this one is regular and regular. Select the assemblies. Okay. Apply. Okay. So what I'm going to do is now we can see it's not going to be here because we need to reboot. So I'm just going to close all these. And I'm going to shut this down. So I'm going to save and shut down. Sorry, it's just taking a second because I'm on my laptop. And then I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to restart. Bear with me. This is important follow-up to the other one if you have watched the other video, because otherwise your system will be a little screwy and you might not realize, you don't want your columns coming, you don't want your beams coming out in that wrong drawing either. That's why most people probably won't want to change. The columns are quite fine just laying down on that sheet, but I don't know, just looks a little better. I'm just trying to make things look a little better as I'm going along through the years. Alright, so let this start up for me, and then I'll open my palettes and we'll see if we now have the one we want. And then we'll output some drawings to see if they're coming out okay. So what I would do then, what you could do is, what I'll do here is go select all the columns. So let's draw in style, draw in process, bill of materials. Okay, go to draw in process, go to selected assemblies. You can see ADM portrait. So there it is right there. So these two I'll rename it so I can get it next to it. I really should have put the portrait at the end, right? So it's going to sit underneath it. But for now, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is going to come down here. And I'm going to execute that. And that is going to select all my columns. If I want to select all the elements on the columns, I can do that. And that's my columns. And next move is going to be come up here to my new drawing style, and that's fingers crossed it'll work. ADM portrait assemblies, each on ANSI C. So I've selected all the columns. I'm going to put all the columns on the portrait sheet ANSI C. Okay. And then if you select the whole job, including the columns, once you don't allow duplicate drawings, it'll just output the columns on the correct sheet when you use this other one, ADM assemblies, each ANSI C. So, or else, so you don't want to miss any parts of the job. So you could also create a filter for the beams, which I have recommended putting in your prototype, and I would say maybe do that. So as soon as this is finished outputting those columns, I'll obviously it's a little slower on my laptop, but there's not that many columns. So what you do is just set up a filter for the beams, which, as I said, I've done in the previous video. Taking a little longer than expected. I should have just done some of the columns so you could see if it works or not. Sorry. Alright. So then come in here, create another query. Just going to go to assign a color and green and objects and beams and naming and model role and do beams. Save that as beams and OK, and you can see now sorry, let me these columns were green the whole time. I guess I had those green. I was worried that it had selected the columns also. So no, it has not selected the columns. So there's all your beams, and now you can output your beams. So whatever way you choose to do it, but I'll just pick one of these and I'll output it onto the drawing to see that we have these both on different drawings. So now it would be to use this one, which is not the portrait sheet, and hopefully the settings were applied correctly. If not, what I would do is just go back and delete these and then go back in. So let's have a look. Show assembly detail. It should be horizontal beam on a landscape sheet. As you can see, it has not cropped that beam, which will happen when you have different sizes of beams. So it's probably 2.5 or something. I gotta make that. Yeah, alright, well I'll address that in a minute, but it's on the right sheet. And then if I go over here to the column and show assembly detail, it should be on a vertical or portrait sheet. And there you go, it's on the correct sheet. So now you have your two drawing process. I shouldn't have done it the other way, because if you had just followed the first video, then your beams would have all been coming out still flat, but they would have been coming out on this sheet also. So just to have it on a different sheet, you have to use two different processes, and I don't know why I keep copying that instead of moving it, but anyway. Alright, so I hope that helps. That's part 2 of the video, very important, and I hope it helps. Alright, take care. Bye bye.